Well, I just heard about Tita, Tita Talks. It's June 10th. And I wanted to see what was going on because I still check on the people that I do like to watch, that I still like to watch. And in fact, I had just left a message for her under one of her videos, as I'd done a few months ago as well, because I routinely would go to her bushes and see what she had to say and give her that click and that view and watch her commentary and what she had to say. And when I did drop down, she was always welcoming. And if we happened to be in the same chat at some point, she would always speak to me. And so I didn't know if she was sick or what was going on all this time, but she was missed by many people. And I've been watching other people's commentary, but one of them really um, got my support simply because everything she said was really factual and Bible-based as well. And so I dropped down in Dee Love's. I didn't drop down. I was in the clouds for Dee Love's on a replay, as a matter of fact, or Dee Love commentary regarding Tita and what's going on. And there was something that she said that really, really made sense. That you don't mess with people of faith with your mouth or your hands because, God will take care of them and you. And the word says that God says, vengeance is mine, I will repay. And repay he will. And it won't just be karma. It will be Carmageddon when you leave it to him to take care of. And yes, she was absolutely right about that. The people judging other people, because in this particular instance, there are victims all around. Of course, the child, the baby, the toddler was a victim. And his parents will suffer this hurt for the rest of their life. But so will Tita, because everyone knows she loved children and she would never do anything to purposely hurt a child. And, but there are other people. Tita has a mother as well who she cared for. Her heart is broken too. And yet people want to use it for fodder, for clicks and views. A lot of people talking about her now that wouldn't dare talk about her if she was still online. But I think my concern is that when people do things to ridicule and humiliate people, or even embellish, make stuff up to add into it to make it more interesting, that's when they bring the trouble to themselves. If you see certain things and watch real commentary, you will see that overall there's really no opinion in there unless you're watching Fox News. There's no opinion. They're telling you what happened, and that's it. But to question a person, I think that's horrific under those circumstances. That will live with her for the rest of her life. Just as the pain that the parents is feeling will live with them for the rest of their lives. But as Dee Love said, it's very selective that people do things to other people or do things themselves and then want to come and pass judgment on somebody else. None of us can judge anybody. Only God's supposed to do that. And you do the best you can to keep his favor. But my concern is that people really don't understand the damage that this does to others. That child's parents are on YouTube. The mere discussion of it for them is painful. This was a tragedy, a real tragedy. And yet, there are those who feel that they have the right to make it content to the degree that they're passing judgment. And I think that's where it gets to be a problem. There's some who say, oh, it's not doxing because it's public record. Have you read the YouTube community guidelines? Have you read the grounds for filing a privacy complaint against a person? You can't do that on YouTube. You're not supposed to. They call it doxing, not anybody else. For them, that's an invasion of privacy, and it's doxing. And if it's malicious, as some of it has been, like vengeance and vendettas, it's no longer commentary. It's intent that is malicious. I personally would hope that, and I guess hoping it is not going to change anything. What I'm saying now is not going to change anything because people are who they are. And they don't care enough about others to measure their words. They don't care enough about themselves to move about with caution. And I find that to be common with people who are under the age of, say, 60, because they feel they are infallible and everything they do is going to be okay and nothing can touch them. But it can touch you in a way that has nothing to do with that person. It has to do with your life and what happens to you in your life. I've seen it happen to people. But you don't get away with anything. Karma is real. I'll use one example. Excuse me. When my son was incarcerated, when he was in the jail, a young, well, not so young, I guess he was in like 30s, something like that. But he was very stringent. There was no bending, nothing. You had to go through the right or go through the left. You had to fold your hands or you had to not fold your hands. You had to look up. I mean, he was so hard line and hard nosed. Everything had to be right. You would think he would be someone who followed all the rules, right? But what happened to him after my son was transferred to prison, lo and behold, he gets caught having sex with the female inmates. And it was Carmageddon for him. I won't say his name because he's suffered enough. But I will say this, when I did see him again, I said, "Oh, hello, aren't you Sergeant so-and-so?" No, that's not me. That's not me. That's what he said. He may have even changed his name. But I knew it was him, looking right at him. But he was so hard-nosed, just bordering being mean, but not really mean. But kept talking about the rule says this and this and that. The rule also says you're not to have sex with the female inmates. So it came back to bite him. And you look at things like that, and I'm using this as an example because this was very high profile stuff. One of the prison guards was keeping my son's magazines and that sort of thing, just really harassing him. And when he got out of prison, the next thing you know, she's in a high-speed chase with her new baby in the back seat. And they were trying to catch up with her because she had just robbed a bank with her baby in the seat. And my first thing was, told you she was a thief. We tried to tell you. But anyway. And lastly, one of the wardens who was very mean recently was all over the news for the SWAT team came to his house. He did something illegal he did. I can't even remember. I just looked at it and said, well, that's the way it goes. I use this as examples, is that the karma didn't come directly from my son or me or any of the other people around. It came within their own lives, from their own actions, for something they did. And they got placed in similar situations. When you get to be my age, a couple of months, Lord bless and say the same, I'll be 75. You realize how fleeting and how fragile life itself is. Because we leave this earth. It's how we leave it. What we do while we're in it. What is our legacy? How will we be remembered? Will we be remembered as caring people or as people who routinely, because everybody can cuss somebody out, okay? And I'll say this, I am a Christian and I relapse and I will cuss you smooth out. I sure will. But I have to repent that and say, oh my goodness, I can't be doing that. And sometimes I don't say I'm sorry because I ain't sorry. And God knows I'm not sorry. And I don't go around saying I forgive this person, forgive that person. Because God knows I'm lying if I say I do and I really don't. And I'd rather be truthful to the world and not lie to God. So there are a lot of things that we do in life. We all have had some kind of karma hit us at one point or another. And it's growth when you try to improve. And that's how I've lived my life. And to see people judged for bad choices over and over and over again, or for a past, something they did in the past, over and over and over again. To me, it's not commentary. Where's the commentary to enlighten, to instruct, to inform, to make aware? We have so much going on in the real world that should be discussed. And I have to say that many of you are quite capable of having those intellectual conversations and putting forth information and creating a dialogue for something that will have a positive result or make some people aware of things. But you don't. So many of you don't use that platform for the greater good. And so I just wanted to look back on all of this, including my own experience, and see the experience of other people. I think one of the most potent examples that Dee Dee Love used was how Seven Stars was ridiculed and judged and called names. And she was 7 years old at the time that tragedy in her family occurred. And they blamed her. How awful. She was a child. You know what that'd be the same thing as doing? That would be the equivalent. That's the equivalent of blaming that little child for getting drowned. You can't do that. That's not fair. And these are we're actually children. So, putting someone's mugshot up, okay. Everybody don't have one, but a lot of people do. Celebrities got them as well. But, you know, you have to let some things go from people's lives. How much do they have to relive something? We have no real knowledge as to what led to whoever making the choice that they made that ended up with them getting a mugshot. We don't know if it was dismissed eventually or if they were desperate. We don't know what was going on. And as you all know, I don't put mugshots on I never have put a mugshot on my channel. Because to me, that's not something that people should do to other people who did something years and years ago. And you know what? Even when it was current, I still didn't do it. And if you had watched me closer, you would have noticed there were some things that I never weighed in on. Other people might. I might be in a chat, but I wouldn't weigh in on it. I would basically observe. Because my mind told me I know too many things that have happened to people and the choices that they made There's always more to the story than what is put up on those court documents. Those are benign documents just telling you this person is here, this person is there, this person is charged with that. But all the nuances, you can't see that on that document. You don't get to see all the documents, and you don't get to see inside that person's heart or mind. Yes, I like Tita, and I'm not going to judge her. The court has already done that. What more do you all want? The court has decided what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. And that it was not intentional. So why go over it? Because you don't like her? Because you don't like a person does not mean that what you're doing is appropriate. Or because someone you like doesn't like the person doesn't mean you get to pass judgment on their history. Because the fact of the matter is they survived it. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. They survived. And trying to move forward with their life. And then here comes somebody, look what I found about them. Some of you have had your records sealed. You paid a lot of money to have that done. Some of you have had things expunged. But expunged doesn't mean it's gone. It's still there. The paperwork's still there. People can get it. They have to pay for it, but they can get it. And so for those of you who've done that, how would that feel? If it was years ago and someone throws that up in your face, things you were charged with, and nothing happened. But you were charged. Things you did, and you were charged. So I don't know when I'm going to put this video up because I do not want attention. I just want it to be a matter of record. And I'll post it when I post it. But I'm not doing things for clicks and views. I'm really not that involved in the beef sector. I'm more involved with watching people telling their good news or making some observations, such as Dee Dee Love did. And this may not sit well with a lot of people, but that's too bad. I'm never been one to be quiet. And since I'm really not the person's running my channel, quote unquote, end quote, I'm sorry, I'll put something up there occasionally. But I hope that the people who are listening can understand and will listen with an open ear and an open mind and recognize that all of that energy being put into making fun of someone at a low point or if something tragic happened, all of that talent and that gift of gab that many of you have, can you imagine the impact you can have on people, not just in their daily lives, but how they move forward and move about and maneuver and through the world. Think about that. Because I can't say that you don't have the gift of gab. I can't say that you don't have that talent. I can't say that you are not capable of holding people's attention. I'm just asking you to imagine the good you could do using that ability, headed in another direction, headed in a better direction. I hope if one person hears this and makes a change, I believe that will be for the better of all the people they come in contact with. And lastly, I have to say, the way things happened with me and the way I was talked about and lied on, it was like, wow. And, there were people who believed the lies. They believed everything and treated me accordingly. But I'm okay with that. As far as I can't change what people have in their own minds. All I could do is put the truth out there and move on with my life. Because if you make it to my age, you will find out how fleeting life is and how fast it moves by. And just remember, all the energy you're putting into this and not living your life, you're putting into someone else's platform. And I say platform because it is YouTube, Google's really platform. You're putting all that energy into that, and you could be doing other things. It's never too late. As I think I told some people before, I was 49, when I went to school to be a paralegal. And I graduated with honors. It's never too late to do something to better your life. Because there was a time when there wasn't a YouTube. And that's what people did. They lived their lives. So, anyway, I just have to say to those mothers out there who have sons and daughters who are incarcerated, people don't know mothers and fathers do time with their child. People don't realize that. But it's those mothers, some of those people, those mothers that would ridicule someone else without thinking, hey, there's another mother somewhere going through what I went through or what I'm going through. It's just like losing a child because you worry day and night. And I know about losing a child because my youngest son passed away. And despite the evil, mean things that were said in someone else's video or their chat or whatever about my younger son, he was a little kid. And you all ridiculed him. And yeah, that hurt too. Because he didn't live. He was a sick young man. He was very ill. He could not be saved medically. And to hear someone ridicule him, that was equally as bad. And so when you do things, you don't know the impact it has on a person. But those of you who have endured it, I just have to ask, how dare you join in with that? It's absurd. And it is really, to some degree, inhumane. Okay, that's it for me. I might not post this till December. Who knows? Because I am booked and busy. Good night.